right, hey, what's up, guys? So we are going to talk about typography. So this is your quick demo. So we're going to go quickly through a couple of the slides that I would have shown you in class, and then we're just going to jump right into the actual demo of what you guys are going to do for this assignment. This is your typography assignment, what we consider to be your creative alphabet. That is the name of this assignment. So what is typography and how an artist uses it? Remember that we talked about in class, and if you're watching this because you missed class, what we're talking about here is using the alphabet or words in some way, shape, or form to create art. This is your first assignment for a reason. This is exactly what you guys are going to do to make your first piece of art in here, because you all know how to write. And now you're all going to learn how to make art with this ability that you already have to write. So we're going to talk about that as we go through this, right? How are we going to use this to help us draw? So here's some examples. I'm going to pop these up, and then as I go, I'm going to kind of draw and kind of go back and forth between my camera and this slideshow so you guys can have a really good example for this demo. So using the alphabet, using A through Z, everything that you need, that you already know how to do, and kind of creating different creative sort of things with that. And I know I just keep using that word creative over and over again, but that's kind of like the point of this, is how do you break out of your mindset that you're in right now and get to like the place where you can make art, and you know you can, just because you're not good at art or whatever, you're all capable and able to write your names, write your assignments, everything in between. We're going to use that skill now. Okay, so here's some examples up on my screen right now. Notice something about all these examples. They're all shapes. They're not lines. There's nothing about any of these that's a thin little pencil line. So when I stop the share here and we're looking at, what I'm saying is when I write this A, right, there's an A. This is all line. There is nothing happening here that is shape or anything like that. We're going to learn about this as we go through this class. This is your first understanding of that. The first thing that's going to kind of make you better. Think about this as a shape. If you looked at that assignment or that example, we created the A, and what a lot of students have stuck in their head, you know, like block letters or bubble letters, like these words get thrown around a lot, right? The idea here is, though, is that we're using shape now to create this letter. But it's not done. If you remember that example, right? This is not it. We're not there yet. We have other things that we're going to learn about this semester, and we're already going to kind of start introducing, right? We could use color. We could even use our pencil, and we could shade. We can add to this patterns or lines on the inside. Even a simple pattern creates something a little bit more interesting. How can I take this one step further? Well, what happens if I make a pattern out of this now? And every other one of these, look at how much better now this is than this. This is much greater of a thing. Stuff could definitely still happen to this, and I could take this the next step further. But that's step one, using shapes instead of lines, using patterns, using your pencil, adding depth to what's happening here. So that's step one. Now we're going to look at these examples. So for these examples, it's kind of like, if you want to say like style is being applied to this one. This is a word that might get thrown around a lot, or that we'll use this semester, right? There's a little bit less of the readability here. Like some of the A or the B, the Z, the Y is a really good example here. In this little area right here, this Y, we're adding a little bit more style, and we're a little bit more kind of shape and form to it. We're getting more in that bubble letter area. These ones here, right? We're simplifying them and kind of creating more of like just straight up shapes. So that's another way that we can do this, right? Let's take that as an example. Like the B that we see over here is slanted a little bit. It's got like some hard edges to it. It's round here. It sticks out a little bit more here. Comes back around like this, right? It's still obviously a B. We've just messed with the shape a little bit more. And I kind of went my own way with it as well. And I'm also obviously being a little bit sloppy here just because I'm kind of trying to get through this demo here without you having to just stare at this. It also does another really cool thing where it has like a secondary outline. There's a lot more happening there than just this. But this is just my example of another place you can take it, right? Simple shapes, more complex shapes, more sort of rounded shapes. It even does this really cool thing where it comes in here and it's like a little bit shaded right here, and it kind of creates this illusion of it being a little bit 3D. There's a lot more extra things that we can add to it there. So that's one more way we can approach this. All right, the final way to approach this. So if we look at these font examples, they're a little bit more what I would call representational, meaning a lot of these look like something. This one right here looks like it's like, well, let me grab that spotlight here again. This one here, right there, is like a checkered board, right? This one over here on the bottom left, it's like there's like a face, like they've added like actual faces and like visual things to this one here. This one right here has stars all around it, right? There's all kinds of things. This is almost like a connect the dots. Okay, so there's like one other way to approach this and to think about this. And it is like this. Think about the first letter that the thing starts with. Like a C could be cat. So maybe the way that you approach this is some sort of like little cat ears, maybe some teeth, maybe a little tail, something like that, right? Because you're thinking creatively, like what things start with the letter and what kind of make it look like. And we could even go even not what do things start with it. And we can go in a different direction there too. It doesn't even have to be C for cat, but it could even be just a C that looks like something else because visually your brain is going to that direction, right? These are 3 different ways to be creative with typography with your alphabet, okay? So now that we've kind of talked about that, here's some ways to approach this as an assignment, and if you feel like you're getting stuck, and what the actual assignment itself is. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to this. Your actual task, create your own alphabet, A through Z. No more than 4 in a row of the same style. Meaning, you wanna do this cat letter, you can do it over and over again. What if like the next thing that I do after this cat letter is a D and I make it look like a cat? That's totally fine. No more than 4 though can be done in the same style. So if once you get a really cool idea of like how to draw a specific letter, you can repeat that again if you'd like up to 4 times. That's what that means by that, okay? And then you're gonna go through the entire alphabet. What's a really good strategy for that? That's what I'm gonna talk about next, and then I'm gonna be done and I'm gonna wrap this video up. So if I stop this here and we go back to this, let's say you draw your A, right? I do that same sort of candy cane looking A that I did last time, right? I draw my A and I do my stripes. And I do my next one, I do my B, and I'm like, I don't want to do the stripes. I want to do something different, but I don't know what I want to do. A good hint or tip for this thing that works really well when we're doing this in class is I always suggest just quickly, just draw the B out normal. Just stick letter that B and you can move on to the C. Because maybe you're like, I definitely know I want my C to be this monster cat with the teeth thing, right? Teeth and ears, or make those into eyes maybe, or whatever. All right, now I've got my C. And I'm like, I don't really know what I want to do for D, placeholder it again. If you ever get stuck on a letter, placeholder. Because what I can do easily is erase that when I'm ready and start actually doing what I want to do for that D. But by placeholdering it, A, B, C, D, right? E, F, whatever, now I know where I am on my paper and I know that I've gotten all of my alphabet. Because I see it happen a lot when students don't do this and they skip around. What I see a lot of times is that they come around and they're like, oh, I want to do a Z, but then they don't really know how to approach it, or they do it and then they forget to do all these other letters that might be in between. All right, so keep all this in mind as we go forward in doing this, is that this is how this is gonna look, is that you're gonna have eventually A, B, C, D, E, F, all the way through Z. Down here, you'll have your Z, and if you have to flip it over and use the backup piece of paper, that's totally fine. So that's the assignment, guys. A through Z alphabet, no more than 4 a row in the same style. All right. See you guys next time.